When I woke up in the hospital bed, my neighbor Linda was holding a small brown bottle, and the look on her face told me everything I needed to know. My son had been poisoning me. Let me back up. My name is Robert, and I'm 62 years old. I know what you're thinking when you hear that number, but let me tell you something, 62 isn't old. I still go running 3 mornings a week in Discovery Park. I renovated my entire kitchen last year by myself. I've been teaching weekend architecture workshops at the community college. My life was full, busy, and exactly what I wanted it to be after 35 years of running my own firm. I had one son, Marcus, 34 years old, sharp as a tack, worked as a financial advisor downtown. His mother, my wife Claire, passed away 4 years ago from cancer. It was just the two of us after that, and I thought we were close. I really did. It started 6 months ago, right after I mentioned I was updating my will. We were having dinner at my place in Queen Anne. I'd made my famous CO Pinot, and Marcus had brought over a nice Pinot Noir. The Seattle skyline was glowing through my floor-to-ceiling windows, the kind of view I'd dreamed about when I was a young architect sketching buildings in coffee shops. "Dad, I've been thinking," Marcus said, setting down his wine glass. "You're not getting any younger. Have you thought about your estate planning?" I laughed. "Marcus, I'm 62, not 92. But yes, actually, I have an appointment with Patricia Chen next week, going to update everything. Make sure it's all in order." Something flickered across his face. Just for a second. "Patricia Chen? The estate attorney?" "That's right. Your mother and I used her years ago, but things need updating. The firm sold for more than I expected. The investments are doing well. The house appreciated significantly." I trailed off, noticing Marcus had gone quiet. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, Dad. Nothing at all. I think that's really smart." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Actually, speaking of health, and I don't mean to sound like you're old, but I've been reading about preventive care for men over 60. There's this amazing supplement my colleague recommended. Really high-end stuff. Pharmaceutical-grade vitamins and minerals. Would you be interested?" I shrugged. "I guess it couldn't hurt. Your mother always said I should take better care of myself." His face brightened immediately. "Perfect. I'll order some for you. It's called VitaCore Premium. My colleague swears by it." 2 days later, a package arrived. Expensive-looking brown bottle, professional label, the works. The instructions said to take 2 capsules every morning with breakfast. Marcus called that evening to make sure I'd received it. "Got it today," I told him. "Starting tomorrow." "Great, Dad. Great. You're going to feel amazing. More energy, better focus, the whole package. And hey, I'll check in regularly to see how you're doing, okay?" That should have been my first warning sign. Marcus calling regularly, my son who sometimes went 2 weeks without returning a text, but I started taking the supplements. And at first, I did feel better. More energetic. I figured Marcus was right, maybe I had been neglecting my health. Then, about 3 weeks in, things changed. It started with the fatigue. I'd wake up after 8 hours of sleep feeling like I'd run a marathon. My morning runs became difficult. I'd get halfway around the park loop and have to stop, hands on my knees, trying to catch my breath. Probably just overdoing it, I told myself. Maybe I need to ease up on the exercise. But then came the headaches. Dull, persistent, like someone had wrapped a band around my skull and kept tightening it. Then, the nausea. Some mornings, I could barely keep down breakfast. Marcus called every few days now. "How are you feeling, Dad? Still taking the VitaCore?" Every morning, I'd tell him. "Though I've been pretty tired lately. Might be coming down with something." "Oh, that's too bad. But don't stop taking the supplements, okay? Your body might be adjusting. It's normal to feel a little off at first. Give it another month." I should have questioned that. Why would vitamins make you feel worse? But Marcus sounded so confident, so certain. He was the successful one. The one who'd gone to business school, who wore $1,000 suits and had important clients. What did I know about modern supplements? 2 months in, I was struggling. I'd canceled my architecture workshops because I couldn't stand for more than 30 minutes without feeling dizzy. My neighbor, Linda, A retired pharmacist who lived 3 doors down stopped me one morning as I was checking my mail. "Robert, are you feeling all right? You look pale." I tried to smile. "Just tired, Linda. Getting old, I guess." She frowned. "You're 62, not ancient. Have you seen a doctor?" "It's probably nothing. Seasonal thing." "Robert, I'm serious. You've lost weight. Your color is off. Promise me you'll get checked out?" I promised her I would, but I kept putting it off. Marcus kept calling, kept asking about the supplements, kept encouraging me to stick with it. And like a fool, I did. Then came the day everything changed. I was walking through Pike Place Market, something I'd done hundreds of times. It was a beautiful September morning, the kind of Seattle day where the sun actually breaks through and the whole city seems to shimmer. I'd gone to get fresh salmon for dinner, maybe some flowers for the house. I was standing at the fish counter when the world tilted. One moment I was pointing at a nice piece of sockeye, and the next, my vision was tunneling. The sounds of the market, the vendors calling out, the tourists laughing, the fish flying through the air, all of it became distant and muffled. I felt my knees give out. The next thing I knew, I was on my back, staring up at a circle of concerned faces. Someone had called 911. I tried to sit up, but hands pushed me gently back down. "Stay still, sir. Help is coming." In the ambulance, they asked me questions. Name, date of birth, any medical conditions, what medications I was taking. "Just vitamins," I managed to say. "VitaCore Premium." The paramedic exchanged a look with her partner. "Can you spell that?" I did. She wrote it down. At the hospital, they ran tests, blood work, EKG, CT scan. I kept drifting in and out. At some point, Marcus showed up, his face creased with concern. "Dad, my God, what happened?" "I don't know," I whispered. My head felt like it was stuffed with cotton. "I was at the market. The doctor said you collapsed. Your heart rate was all over the place." He took my hand. I was so scared when they called me. A doctor came in. Dr. Kim, according to her badge. She looked at Marcus, then at me. "Mr. Harrison, we've got your blood work back. There are some concerning levels. Your potassium is dangerously high, and we're seeing markers that suggest possible toxicity." "Toxicity?" Marcus's voice shot up. "From what?" "That's what we're trying to determine. Mr. Harrison, you mentioned taking vitamins. Do you still have the bottle?" I shook my head. "At home. I can get them," Marcus said quickly. "I'll go right now." Dr. Kim nodded. "Please do. We need to see exactly what's in them." After Marcus left, Dr. Kim sat down next to my bed. "Mr. Harrison, I need you to be completely honest with me. Is there anyone who might want to hurt you?" The question was so unexpected. I laughed. Then I saw her face. She was serious. "No." "Why would you ask that?" "Because the levels we're seeing don't typically happen by accident. We'll know more when we analyze those supplements, but right now, I'm concerned this might not be accidental poisoning." The word hung in the air. "Poisoning? That's impossible," I said. But even as I said it, something cold settled in my stomach. Marcus returned with the bottle. Dr. Kim took it and left. Marcus sat with me for an hour, holding my hand, telling me everything would be okay. Then, he got a call client emergency. Had to go. He kissed my forehead and promised to come back in the morning. After he left, I stared at the ceiling and tried to make sense of Dr. Kim's question. Who would want to hurt me? That's when Linda walked in. "Robert Harrison, you promised me you'd see a doctor, and I had to hear from the neighborhood Facebook group that you collapsed at Pike Place." She was carrying a small bag. "I brought you some things from home. Pajamas, your phone charger, your book." "Linda, you didn't have to." "Hush, that's what neighbors do." She sat down in the chair Marcus had vacated. "Now, what did they say is wrong?" I hesitated, then told her. Everything. The fatigue, the supplements, the doctor's question about poisoning. Linda's face changed. "Robert, what exactly have you been taking?" "These vitamins Marcus got me. VitaCore Premium. He said they were pharmaceutical grade." "May I see the bottle?" The doctor took it to test. Linda pulled out her phone. How do you spell that? Vitacor? I spelled it for her. She typed, scrolled, frowned. Robert, I can't find any supplement by that name. No pharmaceutical company, no health brand, nothing. Maybe it's new? Or exclusive? She kept searching. 5 minutes. 10. Finally, she looked up at me. And I'd never seen Linda look scared before, but she looked scared now. Robert, there's no such product. I'm searching every database I have access to, every pharmaceutical registry. Vitacor Premium doesn't exist. The room suddenly felt very cold. That's not possible. Marcus ordered it. He said his colleague recommended it. Linda was quiet for a moment. Then, very gently, Robert, who benefits if something happens to you? I wanted to be angry. I wanted to defend my son. But instead, I heard myself saying, Marcus inherits everything. The house, the investment accounts, the life insurance, about 2.8 million, total. Linda's hand found mine. I think you need to talk to the police. Linda, no. It's Marcus, my son. He wouldn't. Robert. Her voice was firm now, the voice of someone who'd spent 40 years advising patients on medications, on safety, on staying alive. Your son gave you supplements that don't exist. You started taking them and got progressively sicker. You collapsed. The doctor thinks you've been poisoned. What if I hadn't insisted you see someone? What if you'd waited another month? I closed my eyes. In my mind, I saw Marcus at dinner 6 months ago, that flicker across his face when I mentioned updating my will. I saw him calling regularly not to chat, but to make sure I was still taking the capsules. I saw him arriving at the hospital, his concern that felt, just slightly, performed. Call the police, I whispered. Detective Sarah Williams arrived 2 hours later. She was in her 40s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She listened to everything, took notes, asked pointed questions. Mr. Harrison, I need you to think carefully. Did your son ever handle your food or drinks directly? No, just the supplements. And you took them every morning? Every morning for almost 3 months. Never missed a day? I thought about it. Actually, yes. About 2 weeks ago, I ran out. I called Marcus to ask about reordering, and he seemed upset. He brought over a new bottle the next day. Detective Williams wrote that down. How long were you without the supplements? 3 days. And how did you feel during those 3 days? The memory came back sharp and clear. I felt better. The headache went away. I thought I was finally adjusting. Then you started taking them again? Yes. And within 2 days, I felt terrible again. Detective Williams looked at Linda, then back at me. Mr. Harrison, with your permission, we'd like to search your home. We need that new bottle of supplements. I gave permission. They found the bottle in my kitchen cabinet, exactly where I left it. They also found something else, a second bottle, hidden behind the cleaning supplies under my sink. Same label, but this one was half full. Why would there be 2? I asked Detective Williams when she showed me the photo. Backup, maybe. Or, she paused. Mr. Harrison, is it possible your son has a key to your house? Of course. I gave him one years ago, so he could come by when you weren't home. The implications of that made me feel sick all over again. The lab analysis came back 3 days later. The supplements contained a cocktail of substances, some were actual vitamins, but mixed in were compounds that had no business being in any health product. Oleandrin, a cardiac glycoside from oleander plants, high doses of potassium, colchicine, a gout medication that becomes toxic above certain doses, all in amounts that would build up slowly, cause progressive symptoms, and eventually lead to cardiac arrest. Someone had made these capsules specifically to kill me, slowly, in a way that might look natural for a man over 60. Dr. Kim showed me the report. Mr. Harrison, if you'd continued taking these for another month, maybe 6 weeks, you would have died. And honestly, with your age and the fact that your wife passed from illness, it probably would have been ruled as natural causes. Heart failure. No one would have looked deeper. I sat in that hospital bed and cried. Not because I'd almost died, I'd process that later, but because my son had done this. My boy, who I'd raised, who I'd loved, who I'd supported through college and business school and his divorce. He'd been feeding me poison and waiting for me to die. Detective Williams arrested Marcus at his office. I wasn't there, I was still in the hospital, but she told me later he denied everything at first. Then, when confronted with the lab reports, with the evidence of the fake supplement company, with the financial records they'd subpoenaed showing his desperate need for money, he'd broken down. He said he was sorry, Detective Williams told me. Said he got in over his head with bad investments, lost clients' money, was facing potential fraud charges. He needed your inheritance to cover it before anyone found out. He said it wasn't personal. He'd been killing his own father. And it wasn't personal. The trial took 8 months. Marcus pleaded not guilty, despite all the evidence. His attorney tried to argue that I must have taken the wrong supplements by mistake, that Marcus had ordered real Vitacor and someone must have switched them. But the prosecution tore that apart. They showed the jury that Vitacor didn't exist. They showed Marcus's Google searches, untraceable poisons, natural causes of death in elderly. How long does cardiac glycoside stay in system? They showed the financial records. Marcus had lost nearly $400,000 of his clients' money through risky investments. He was 3 months away from an audit that would expose everything. My inheritance was his escape plan. I attended every day of the trial. I sat in that courtroom and watched my son lie on the stand. He looked at me once, just once, and I couldn't read his expression. Regret? Anger? Nothing at all? The jury took 4 hours to convict him. Attempted murder, financial fraud, multiple other charges I can't even remember. The judge sentenced him to 25 years. That was 3 months ago. Now I'm sitting in my house in Queen Anne, looking out at the same Seattle skyline that glowed the night Marcus suggested I take those supplements. The house feels different now, emptier, not because I'm alone. I was alone after Claire died, and I was okay. But now I'm alone, in a different way. Linda checks on me every day. The neighborhood rallies around me in ways that make me tear up. My former colleagues from the architecture firm have been stopping by, taking me to lunch, reminding me I'm not just a father who failed. I'm also a mentor, a friend, a person with value beyond my relationship to my son. I started therapy. Dr. Rodriguez helps me work through the guilt because, yes, I feel guilty. What did I do wrong? How did I raise a son who could do this? She reminds me that Marcus made his choices, that I didn't cause his greed, his desperation, his willingness to kill. I updated my will. Everything goes to charity now. The Pacific Northwest Architecture Foundation, the Cancer Research Center where Claire was treated, a scholarship fund for first-generation college students. Marcus won't see a dime, even after he gets out of prison. I've started running again. 3 mornings a week in Discovery Park, like before, except now Linda comes with me sometimes. We don't talk much, just run, watching the sun come up over the water. I'm grateful for the morning air in my lungs, for the strength in my legs, for the fact that I'm still here. People keep asking me if I'm okay, and honestly, I don't know. Some days I'm angry, furious that my son tried to murder me for money. Some days I'm heartbroken, mourning the relationship I thought we had. Some days I'm just tired, but I'm alive. And I'm 62 years old, which people kept telling me meant I needed help, meant I was vulnerable, meant I was declining. Turns out, 62 means I'm strong enough to survive poison, smart enough to trust the people who actually cared about me, resilient enough to rebuild my life after my own child tried to end it. I've started teaching again at the community college. My architecture workshops are full every weekend. Last month, one of my students, a 58-year-old woman who always dreamed of being an architect, but spent 30 years raising kids instead, showed me her design for a community center. It was beautiful. It was exactly the kind of thing I used to dream about creating when I was young. It's never too late, I told her. 60 isn't old. 60 is just the beginning. She smiled, and I realized I was finally starting to believe it. Sometimes I think about Marcus in prison. I wonder if he thinks about me, about what he did. about what he threw away. I wonder if he's sorry. Really sorry. Not just sorry he got caught. Mostly, though. I try not to think about him at all. Yesterday, I got a letter from Patricia Chen, my estate attorney. Everything is finalized. My assets are protected. My wishes are clear. If something happens to me now, if I get hit by a bus or have a heart attack or just reach the natural end of a long life, everything I've built will go toward helping other people. Marcus's betrayal won't define me. His greed won't be my legacy. I'm sitting on my deck now, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. Linda's coming over for dinner. I'm making Ciopino again, the first time since that night with Marcus. I'm reclaiming it, taking back the things he tried to poison. My phone buzzes. It's a text from one of my students. Mr. Harrison, I just got accepted to graduate school for architecture. I'm 63, and I'm going back to school. Thank you for inspiring me. I smile and type back. That's incredible. Age is just a number. You're going to be amazing, because here's what I've learned. 62 isn't old. 62 isn't vulnerable. 62 is still having dreams. 62 is running in the park at sunrise. 62 is teaching on weekends and making new friends and surviving things you never thought you'd have to survive. 62 is still being here when someone tried to make sure I wouldn't be. And tomorrow, I'll wake up and take my real vitamins, the ones Linda helped me pick out from the pharmacy, the ones I watched them take off the shelf, the ones that come from companies that actually exist. I'll go for my run. I'll work on that community center design I've been sketching. I'll live my life, because my son tried to take that from me. But he failed. I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere.